Good evening. Thank you. My name is Kim Burns. I am the president of the Winton Woods School Board, and I'd like to welcome you here tonight for our State of the Schools address. Let me first say, those of you who are sitting in the back, this is going to be more of an interactive event tonight, so you may do well by moving a little bit closer because there will be walkers on the floor as opposed to up on the stage at some point. I guess I wasn't good at that. Two people that I'd like to introduce tonight are Mrs. Maria Walther Willard, who is Green Hills Council. She will be available here for some interpretation, as well as our own very special and dynamic superintendent, Mr. Anthony G. Smith.
Si hay alguien aquí que necesite intérprete en español, yo voy a estar sentada en esa esquina de allá. S'il y a quelqu'un ici qui a besoin d'interprète français ici, je serai là. Alors, vous pouvez me trouver dans ce coin-là. Merci.
Okay, good evening. Good evening. All right. Our tagline, ensuring all students achieve their highest potential. It's here in Spanish, French, Nepali, and Fulani. I could say it in all of those languages, but I don't want to impress you right now. So just stay tuned. We're going to actually go through this quickly, and then I'm going to come down because I want to be closer to you so that will be able to ask me questions and we can have a more interactive relationship. But how many of you came to the first State of the Schools? All right. So we're back again. We're going to go through some of these slides rather quickly because some of these will repeat themselves from our first address, but we didn't want to miss out on any opportunities, and we wanted to make sure that you understood that we were trying to capture the moment from the first address to now. So where are we now? Academic results, and where are we going? Where are we now? Of course, culturally rich environment. There's an outstanding preschool program, and you're going to see data that supports all of this information. School academic successes, differentiated instruction, co-teaching, project-based learning, AP courses, college credit, flexible credit options, Academy of Global Studies, agency, and curriculum night. That word agency is going to jump out at you because it means something very, 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 very interesting. So I think everybody in the audience has agency, but this is a new term that universities are using to help make sure that kids are prepared for the academic rigor. We're also going to talk about the performing arts, the China trip for the band, gifted and talented, athletics, tutorials, PTA, summer school. All right. One of the things that we realize about our cultural diversity, the more cultural diverse we are, the more our kids are equipped to deal with people from other countries who speak other languages. And I was talking to Dr. Holden and then later on Mr. Martin. One of the things I can tell you about the young people that come from other places, they are not harassed, they are not intimidated, they are welcomed, and they feel very, very part of this process called Winton Woods. So I'm excited about that. Sometimes people are a little bit unsure about a culture or a race, and since they don't understand it, they put things out of perspective and things become unnatural. So there are 25 languages spoken, and we have an outstanding student exchange program and travel opportunities for many of our students to make sure they can study abroad. So, the preschool program. One of the major pieces is to make sure that our preschoolers become active learners. How many of you have preschoolers around or at home somewhere? All right. Anybody ever met a very talkative preschooler? All right. You don't want to stifle that because that's where the creativity comes from. Because if you stifle that preschooler early on, you kind of hold them back. So keep in mind that when you have young little kids that are starting to talk and walk, remember when they were crawling around and you had to carry them? And you said, man, I can't wait until this child starts walking. Then when they start walking and damaging other things, you said, I wish this child wouldn't walk around. Well, preschoolers make the world go round. And I think we're going to really work diligently to build our system through little kids moving up. Miss Darcy has created something that I think is fantastic. She wrote a fantastic grant. It was accepted and approved for parents with some socioeconomic challenges so that their children could start preschool early. So thank you very much for that. All right. Have you ever seen a preschool solve problems? They're problem solvers. They can figure out some things. And we think that they create more problems than they solve. But on the other hand, they solve a lot. So kudos to the preschoolers. Then the readiness assessment, the crawl study, you're going to see some results here that's absolutely outstanding in conjunction with our kids going into the early preschool program and also early kindergarten. And you're going to see how our students fared against the state. All right? So, 17.4, I don't know if you can see that. No preschool or other preschool daycares or alternatives. That's how they scored on the Kindergarten Readiness and Literacy Administration, which is called the crawl study. 17.4, the state average is 20.3. That's for kids of average intelligence that take that test. If you have participated in a Winton Woods experience, your score is 22.1. So we exceed the state average. So if we're exceeding the state average as a preschooler, and we're exceeding the state average going into kindergarten and being kindergarten prepared, if we really keep pushing the spectrum with our children that way, they will exceed all of these state standards. So we have a good start, now we have to keep the momentum. "98% of our students have moved on to first grade from preschool. No, all to kindergarten. 98%. So 2% needed some recoaching and some retooling, but we do know that with the work that we're putting in place, 98% is a really good number. Of course, our goal is 100%, but we have to make sure our kids are ready for the next level before we move them through. So without this opportunity, we wouldn't have had 98%. So kudos to everyone who participated in it. I would have to say kudos to the board for making this a reality, giving kids a head start before time, because the more you're in school, the better you operate. There's more in-depth lessons, help students master curriculum concepts, build a stronger foundation for comprehension, and teaching phonetic awareness and rhyming, important for fluency, and there's guided math and reading every day. You know, the state is going to come up with some new test criteria. You know how the OAA and the OGT, and they test all the 5 content areas. Well, they're saying that now there will be a kindergarten readiness. There will also be a kindergarten assessment, and they're going to test the kids in all 5 content areas. We do know the sooner you get the students to kindergarten, the more prepared they will be. And our kindergarten program is outstanding. So in the beginning, it was a half-day experience. Now there's a whole-day experience. Parents really appreciate that. But it's not something where there's nap time and all these other pieces that are not really engaging. These are academic strategies that have really made a difference in how we really judge young people and look at success. Elementary school academic successes. Spelling bees, honor club, bringing up grades, looping, service learning programs, and peer mediation bullying prevention programs. One of the major pieces is bullet number 4. How many of you know what looping is? Not the educators. but community and other people. How many of you know what looping is? Looping gives you an opportunity. If I'm a fifth grade teacher, well, my next year, I may loop with my students, and I become the sixth grade teacher. And then I loop with my students, and I become the seventh grade teacher. First of all, you've already created this whole big process called cultural responsibility. You've also created a level where you don't have to talk about all these rules and regulations. It's the same rules and the same regulations from last time. And then your relationship with parents is more cohesive because parents know the teacher, teacher knows the parents, and now you can go on with instructional strategies. I had the pleasure of looping when I was a teacher, and getting to really have that foundation where you walk in the door the first day of school and you're talking about instruction is absolutely powerful. So that's something that we actually believe in because having teachers move with students really creates a holistic process. Co-teaching with intervention specialists. If you don't know, intervention specialists are special teachers that work with students with disabilities. However, one of the things that you will hear the executive team say often, as well as the piece that Patty Darcy brings to the table on a regular basis, you cannot expect students with disabilities to meet the state standards until you introduce them to them. So even though they have disabilities, they must be part of the regular curriculum. We preach it, we talk about it, we endorse it, we believe it, because at the end of the day, there are no special ed lines at any of our stores. The community looks at you as a regular person, and so we have to make sure that you're fundamentally ready for the work. So we're trying to do more inclusionary processes as opposed to leaving kids in isolated circumstances because they have to get along with everyone. So Ms. Darcy, thank you for all that hard work that you do. Thank you for pushing the envelope. There are times where we want to be a little resistant, and you're saying they need this opportunity. So thank you again. There's a combination of training and expertise for intervention specialists was that of a content teacher and mainstreaming students with disabilities into regular classrooms, but they must have appropriate support. Putting them in those regular classrooms without the support is not really helpful. So once you give them the support, then after they get the proper support, they're able to become high flyers and function. One of the things that we've noticed in some of our OGT and OAA assessments, even though these were students with disabilities that people kind of believe that maybe they wouldn't function as well, they passed all 5 parts of those assessments. So that tells me that giving them the opportunities is what they needed. And then there's a common planning which produces differentiated instruction. Do we all understand differentiated instruction? That means no 2 students learn the same. And so we have to have a variety of instructional strategies. And what you're going to see later on, you're going to see a full gamut of what our professional development series looks like. For a while, the professional development was a secret to the public. It should never be. You should know exactly what our teachers are going to be working on throughout the school year when they're taking time out of their schedules and we're shutting school down for that intended purpose. You need to know exactly what our teachers will be studying so that we can reinforce it, so you can reinforce it at home. Each child can find success in our own learning is a challenge that requires innovative thinking because no 2 students are exactly the same. How many of you have more than 1 child? And how many of you understand that working with 1 child is totally different than the other? And how many of you have done the magic parent mistake by comparing the 2? You compared those 2. And I know that there are biased people in the audience that say that the girl was always smarter. I don't know if that's true. But one of the things that we realize is even though the children come from the same family, they learn in a variety of different ways. And so we need to understand that as we take this ship on the road, we need to understand that our kids learn a little different. And it is up to us as educators to get the professional training so that we can educate them the way that they should be properly educated. There's a great connection between the curriculum and diverse student interests and experiences. And learning happens when a student is academically challenged beyond expectations. And I asked the group earlier this morning during the convocation, how many of you have reached your potential? This is the best that you're going to be today. How many of you have more? You have more to offer and more to give. 2 people. Come on, we can do better than that. All right, very good. So you have not reached your highest potential. And some of you are older than 17, I would assume. So for young people that haven't reached their highest potential, it is our responsibility to get them there because their issues and their talents are unlimited.
A co-teaching classroom is where you have 2 teachers who are working together, usually a general ed teacher and a special ed teacher, where they plan together and organize all the materials together and they deliver the instruction together.
Our overall goal for co-teaching is that the students are unable to decipher who the general education teacher is in the classroom and who the intervention specialist is. And instead of just saying our kids or her kids, they become our kids.
Right, so we're both actively engaged the whole entire time, and like she said, somebody that comes in cannot tell which teacher is which. So
some of the benefits to co-teaching is that there is a smaller teacher to student ratio, which gives teachers a better opportunity to differentiate instruction and provide more individualized instruction for students.
Right. One of the greatest things I've found is that it's very easy to work in small groups with 2 teachers, where students are sitting with a teacher in a group of 6 students or less at least once every single day, which makes a great impact on their learning.
And this is
All right. So in order to be part of that co-teaching model, do you think you have to get along with the other teacher? Absolutely. They are partners. And that relationship is forged on them having the same goal of making sure the student is prepared for the next grade level. And it's not just about the state test. It's about the dedication and the commitment to academics. Some Winton Woods Middle School's academic highlights are Algebra 1 and Geometry for high school credit, advanced classes in language arts and science, Official International Study School Network, ISSN, and completing 2 years of Spanish or Chinese for high school credit. That's powerful. Elective courses, Intro to Tech and Gateway to Technology, and then a cohesive team teaching for cohorts for students who share the same language arts, math, social studies, and science teacher. Why is that important for them to have that shared common theme with those teachers? Because we keep talking about something called capstone projects, and when you can bring all of the content together, students struggle sometimes because we don't make the content relevant to the next content. Most of these contents should not be taught in isolation. They should be a collaborative piece. That's what makes it really interactive for kids. So if we made it very, very interactive where they're understanding all of the concepts collectively, guess what? They learn it much quicker and they can make it relevant. Anybody, not you, not this group, maybe other people, ever had a course and you said, why am I taking this course? Will I ever use this again? Well, if we made it relevant, you would be using it during your everyday life and your everyday activity. So that's one of the things that we are trying to enhance. Here's Dr. Holden, and she's going to give her overview.
Commonly known is an instructional method where students gain content knowledge by deep exploration of a topic. There are really 8 tenets or practices in project-based learning. Significant content. Students really investigate an issue that's significant in that particular content area. 21st century skills. Collaboration, communication, critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and innovation. There's always a driving question that students have to answer. Related to that driving question, there's in-depth inquiry. Again, students dive deeply into the content to be able to answer the question. Need to know, students learn the content just in time to finish the project. So if they're learning about how roller coasters work, they learn the physics involved, the need to know physics involved as they do the project. Another tenet is voice and choice. So students get to choose how they're going to approach a particular project, how they're going to use their own authentic voice in completing that project. And finally, probably the most important piece is presentation. Students present their topic to a real audience, an authentic audience. PBL gained a foothold in the district with the Academy of Global Studies. And students in the Academy of Global Studies experience their core courses in a wall-to-wall project-based learning format. So all of their core instruction is through project-based learning. Last year in the high school, the larger high school began to incorporate more project-based learning in all of the courses. At the ES, the IS, and the MS, students experience project-based learning in very specific formats. So for example, at the IS on the gifted looping team, at the ES with their service learning activities, and the MS with the humanities team, students are positioned in a way to use project-based learning within these specific environments.
Okay. Does she have another slide coming up? Okay.
We know from qualitative and quantitative data from our AGS students, from our academy students, as well as from national research, that project-based learning works. It helps students achieve at higher levels, and it really engages them in their own learning. PBL encourages students to think deeply. PBL encourages students to collaborate with their peers. Not only does it encourage it, it forces it. PBL encourages students to develop organizational skills. PBL helps students become more productive. PBL helps students become more self-directed and invested in their own learning. It's for these reasons and the research that we're really going to roll project-based learning out district-wide K-12. So throughout the year, teachers will be experiencing, through pretty significant professional development, the tenets of project-based learning and how they might use PBL as an instructional tool within their classes.
Last Saturday, during the Unity Parade, I met a young man, and he happens to be one of your cadets. And he came up to me and he said, "I'm not going to be in AGS this year. It was too much for me." And I asked him to explain a little more. He says, "I was not adequately prepared for the rigor of AGS." And then he said something more compelling. He says, "But I need to know," now he knew who I was, and he says, "I need to know what your intentions are for younger kids. What's your plan?" And I thought that was a very, very heavy piece. He wanted to know what plans that I have in place to make sure that young people understood the rigors associated with AGS and, of course, PBL. And I assured him, number one, that we're scaling it to the middle grades, and then we'll scale it to the elementary grades. But the other thing that I told him, before he made a decision to transition out of AGS, I wanted him to talk to the principal. So tomorrow, that is going to be the first person that I see in the school. I'm going to see him personally and see what would make him be a deliverable, meaning he would be successful in AGS, because he had it at one point in time. He understood the work, he understood the rigor, but now he's fallen short. Anybody here ever fallen short and you needed somebody to help pick you back up? Well, for him to be that courageous to walk up to me to tell me that he was going to transition out because he was a bit too much tells me that he is the perfect person for it. So he's going to be my first person that I see tomorrow, and let him know. All right, thank you. Stanford University and other universities use project-based learning because they understand the importance of going beyond gaining knowledge of the content area to applying the knowledge through self-directed learning that develops the problem-solving skills that are necessary for their future career. See, someone said something that was not quite right, that universities don't respect PBL. I don't think Stanford's a watered-down institution. It's one of the best universities in the country, and they respect the work that PBL brings to the table. The other piece, I think when you look at how PBL is really going to help our kids enhance to be these quality learners that we talk about, people have to learn how to work with others. How many of you work in isolation and you don't work with anyone all day? How many of you understand the work ethic associated with being on a team? And it is powerful to be on a team. So, smart person. I need a smart person. Mr. Day, you were looking at me, so I'm looking at you, which means you're smart. All right. Why do people get terminated, Mr. Day? Don't work well with other people. Don't work well with other people. And so that challenges everybody on the team. If you ever had the experience of seeing the kids in AGS work, AGS seems chaotic. It seems like it's just going all over the place, but kids are totally engaged with their peers, and it is absolutely powerful. So Dr. Holden, before I arrived, had even come up with the concept of how we're going to spread that good news to the other kids in the district and in the school. Correct, Dr. Holden? Thank you. Good answer. All right.
We are extremely excited about the start of the 2014-15 school year. With this start of the school year, we're going to implement and infuse more problem-based learning or project-based learning into the traditional side of our school. As you all know, AGS is all problem-based, project-based learning, which is PBL. But on the traditional side, we're really looking forward to the opportunity to really hone in on some of those skills that's learned through this process. Critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills that all kids can learn from, all kids can benefit from, and it's really the way of the future in terms.
All right. Now, Mr. Martin, raise your hand. That was Mr. Martin, and he's talking about incorporating that work. Mr. Martin did that on 57 takes. So he got it right. But Mr. Martin, one of the good reasons about having him, he is a winner for every child. He wants every child to be successful. So when we talk about this process of bringing every kid into the fold of PBL and making sure they have exposure, that's something that's already on his radar. And this seamless piece where Dr. Holden transitioned out and Mr. Martin transitioned in, what a powerful transition. And so I know that they'll be able to work collaboratively together for many years to come. This is the part that the young man was talking about. Are you giving it to the children early enough so that when they make it to the high school, they're ready for the rigor? Well, guess what? That's the plan. So, middle school, language arts, social studies, Spanish are combined calling humanities. Intermediate school, team of teachers trained to incorporate project and problem-based global learning. And the elementary schools, students participate in service learning activities as a means of doing project-based learning. Powerful pieces to make the kids become holistic. High school academic successes, of course, AGS, diploma endorsement pathways, Project Lead the Way, STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, art, and math, high school business, PSAT. The PSAT, we're going to use it the way that it was intended to be used. It is a predictor of how well students do on AP courses. That's what it's for. So students take the PSAT, and now, instead of getting that endorsement from a special teacher who may like you, we can look at your score and we could say, listen, you should be taking AP chemistry. You should be taking AP psych. You should be taking AP history. Now, imagine taking a test, and when you get the results back, and you're just an average student, thinking you're living an average life, and you get the results back, and it says you should be taking an AP course. Well, that's shocking. But remember, the results speak for themselves. So we'll have more kids involved in AP opportunities because we'll use the PSAT the right way. And all sophomores and juniors will take this test at no cost to the families. And of course, the college credit and the PBL that will go along with it. And how many of you believe we have a superior performing arts school? Absolutely. Every time I hear that band, I get excited. And I didn't tell you, I told the group earlier, during the Unity Parade, I think it was like 67 miles. It felt like 67 miles, but I walked the whole way with the band, and I was proud at the end because I endured. I didn't fall apart. I stayed with it. And I wasn't playing any instruments or anything, but I stayed with the band.
Senior at Winton Woods High School, where I participate in the band where I play the alto saxophone. I am a member of the National Honor Society, Key Club, and Women Leading Tomorrow. I really enjoy going to school at Winton Woods. Many opportunities have been afforded to me through the Normal Academy program. I participate in honors and AP courses where I have maintained a 4.0 GPA and I'm #1 in my class.
And she did that on one take. I met her last year. There was a great newspaper article on her about how she believes endorsing the PSAT is going to help all of our students. So kudos to her. Fantastic. AP courses are entry-level college courses. Provide students with the opportunity to earn college credit while in high school. You see those dollar signs? I asked Ms. Denny to put as many dollar signs in there as she could fit. Because if you're taking these courses ahead of time, guess what? That saves money on tuition. All right? It saves money on tuition. And then it enhances a student's academic resume. So when we talk about having AP opportunities and the AP initiatives, we have to get as many of our young people involved in the AP scheme of things so that they could actually take advantage of these low-cost opportunities in college. Remember, if we could get our kids walking into the college door with college credit, how powerful would that be? These are some of the AP courses: art, drawing, physics, calculus. That A, B, and BC course, I'm sure that it's absolutely powerful. Course covers the first semester of college calculus. BC covers the first 2 semesters of college calculus. U.S. history, U.S. government and politics, English literature and composition, English language and composition, human geography, beginning this school year. So we keep broadening that scope of what's going to be offered in AP courses, and eventually our kids are going to score these 4s and 5s that we talk about. Dr. Holden put something in place before a transition. So it's not just about AP, but now we're talking about ACT. In the beginning, maybe 20 of our kids participate in this ACT opportunity. How many, Dr. Holden? 200, 150? 150 and 175, kids are going to get some special endorsements on how to be prepared for the ACT. That's the same girl. She changed her look a little bit. So in 12-13, there were 91 students taking AP classes. 13-14, 146. And this year, we're projecting 258 students in AP courses. That's a huge shift. And these are young people that say, I want more rigor. Now, not that it happened or didn't, but when you were in school, how many of you begged for harder courses? You begged your teacher for harder courses. You demanded, I want more work. All right, 2 people. Same 2 people every time that I ask these questions. High school students can earn college credit through post-secondary education options, Project Lead the Way, High School of Business, dual enrollment with Sinclair, AP courses. One of the things that the board has challenged me to do, and I welcome the challenge, these courses should have different weights because of the rigor associated with it. They must have a different weight so that kids understand taking that course on a college campus gives it a different weight than taking it in a high school experience. So we're going to make sure that the courses are weighted appropriately because there's a greater challenge and they're higher risk. So the higher your risk, the better your opportunity and the better your GPA, et cetera, et cetera. Flex credit. Kids are encouraged to take flex credit to accelerate their learning, and the credit options are available in all content areas. So if your schedule is full, you might take a flex credit. You may take something online or off campus, and it gives you some other opportunities because remember, graduating from Winton Woods, how many credits do you need, Dr. Holden? 22. There's rigor involved in that 22. So it's not just mediocre work that you have to accomplish. There's some real rigorous stuff that you have to put in place in order to be able to compete on that college campus. AGS, only school in the country to combine New Tech with its one-to-one tech, Asian Society International Study School network with global focus. 21st century learning skills, collaboration, communication, creativity, critical thinking, media literacy, and agency. Required community service with a minimum of 70 hours. Can anybody tell me why we make sure that kids have community service? What do you think that's about? Absolutely it does. Builds character, creates a level of discipline, talks about taking a responsibility and being part of your community. And one of the things that we know at Winton Woods, if we bring the community and the school together, boy, we will have a successful entity. So those are the pieces. Thank you very much, Ms. Brader. Extended learning time for global seminar and mentoring. Agency. This is the piece that I talked about. And in your program, there's a definition of agency so you can understand how we really embrace it. Agency is an educational term which at its core is the belief that every student can meet high levels of achievement. This belief system guides our learning outcomes for students in achieving their potential. A mindset of developing growth is shown by effort and practice, seeking challenges, understanding setbacks, increasing confidence, connecting to personal relevance. One of the pieces that every college young person is going to have to endure is bullet number 3. And some of our kids fall apart. They call home and they want to come home because the work has become too much. But there are setbacks. How many of you have ever had to overcome a setback and you march forward? Okay, that's the way of the world. That's how it works. We have to teach our kids to be resilient and not give up because the next challenge becomes the next opportunity. Agency, a mindset of ownership over learning is shown by meeting benchmarks and monitoring progress, seeking feedback, tackling challenging learning, actively participating in learning, building and engaging in relationships, impacting self and others. Look at bullet number 5 and 6. Building and engaging in relationships and impacting self and others. That's a very, very strong testimonial that we are responsible for the entire community. This community should not stand alone. We should all be responsible for it, good or bad. And if it's not going the way that we want it to, we bring the community together and we make great things happen. I had a good meeting the other day with 3 distinguished gentlemen, Dr. Wharton, Dr. Weirs, and Mr. Henderson. And one of the things that they brought to the table is, how do we bring the partnership together? Now, these gentlemen have probably retired and they all make like $1.5 million a year and kind of sit on great estates and farms. But they've decided to figure out how to give this back to the community because they are still part of our community. And they want to be part of what we do and how we do it. Because they know that if they bring that level of responsibility, guess what? We all benefit from it.
World Studies in the Academy of Global Studies. One thing I like about the Academy is that we give students more challenging and more difficult academic tasks than anything that I remember doing as a student myself, even in college, frankly. We give them real-world scenarios, problems to struggle with. We give them the added challenge of effectively managing groups and working with diverse people and conflicts of personality and character and work ethic and all those different things that real-world people struggle with as well. And we challenge them to not just take in knowledge and spit it right back out at us in the form of a test, but to take it, mull it over, make meaning out of it, and produce something that's unique and original that helps humanity as a whole learn more.
And in doing that, we begin every project with a problem, which I really love because then they're able to develop their critical thinking skills. How are they going to solve whatever problem we present them with at the beginning of a project? So we're both very excited to be teaching in the Academy of Global Studies. It gives students an opportunity that I scarcely would find elsewhere.
You know what's so good about our videos? And thank you, Ms. Denny, for that video work. It all looks like it was taken like on some sunny Bahama kind of place. And it's right in our own backyard. So anytime you want to feel like you want to go to the Bahamas, just go back there by the trailers and you'll feel that experience. Now, in the convocation this morning, I made just of a football opportunity. And I said, I really wish I had the courage, but if the 5 members of the board encouraged me, I might do something like this. Encourage people that we're going to a big football playoff game, but instead it's curriculum night. And we invite everybody there, and then we talk about curriculum. That would be exciting. So our curriculum night, go back one slide, Ms. Denny. Our curriculum night will be K-6 at Winton Woods High School. What we tried to do, we thought about all of the challenges our parents face, so we tried to put it in the same place but at different times. So you can go to one place to get everything that you need. So K-6 students at 6 o'clock, and then grades 7 through 12 at 7:15. And please encourage people to come because you need to know that the curriculum landscape is changing. It is more rigorous, it is more demanding, but it is more beneficial. Value of performing arts. That's huge. On the 2012 SAT, students who participated in music scored an average of 31 points above average in reading, 23 points above average in math, and 31 points above average in writing. Wow. How many of you encourage your children, grandchildren to participate in music? It is a very, very powerful piece because it uses parts of the brain that you wouldn't ordinarily use. So it enhances, and it also, guess what? I found out something very remarkable. Do you know you can go to college on a scholarship for music? Did you know that? So if your child is a violinist, they could go to CCM for free. Anybody interested in that? Okay, so these opportunities come to us, but we have to take advantage of them. And then the cognitive structures developed through music instruction expose and eliminated more general organizing structures relevant for multiple disciplines. That means that you can do a whole lot of things at one time. I'm a different kind of learner. I have to have silence in order to get it done because that's how my brain is wired. How many of you can work with the TV on, the radio on, and all kind of chaos going on? That's hard for me. But for some people, that's just the way that it works. So stay tuned. I'm happy that Ms. Denny put this slide in here. The young lady to the right and the other kids in the green, the band group, the band committee, they did something very creative in order to keep our kids interested in music. This is where the band is performing at a halftime show, but they invited the middle school kids to participate in that experience. That is so powerful. You should have seen the faces. They're marching with the real band. And so guess what? The next year, they're excited about that opportunity. So I think Ms. Ashbrook and her team should receive a lot of kudos for that one because that's a very, very great exposure to the next level. Chorus in grades 5 to 12, band in grades 5 to 12, orchestra, visual and performing arts. Now, here's the real testimony. Someone has watched this band for 5 or 6 years and decided you are worthy to come and play at the Great Wall. That's a huge experience, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and we hope that our children are able to raise the funds in order to make that trip a reality, all right? And if any of you are interested in going, somebody will tell you what the price is. It's not free. But I think they're going to need a lot of great chaperones to accompany them on such a great trip. They'll play at the Great Wall, Tiananmen Square, Beijing, Shanghai. Pronounce that one? That's what I said, Xi'an. And then they'll see the Terracotta Warriors. We were doing really good. They were coming down, and I was getting everyone right. And then I got to one, and I had to go back to people who had been there before. This is Miss Ashbrook. She is the most interesting person that I've ever met in my life. And you could tell she loves kids and they love her right back. So Miss Ashbrook.
2015, this spring, our band students will have the opportunity to travel and perform in China. We're going to have 4 opportunities to perform in 3 different cities, Beijing, Xi'an, and Shanghai. We'll have a musical exchange with our sister school, Zhangping High School.
She's right to the point. Music programs, award-winning. Varsity Ensemble, gold medals. OMEA, competition for over 35 years. Varsity Ensemble performed in pre-Olympic festival in China. And the choirs have recorded 3 CDs with the Cincinnati Pops Orchestra. Huge, powerful. How many of you went to the China trip in 2008? Wow. Gifted and talented education begins in 3rd grade. And so this is what it provides all of our students. Teaching that matches tasks, activities, and assessments. Opportunities to take high school coursework at the middle school, AP and collegiate courses in high school, instructions by specifically trained teachers who are certified by the state of Ohio. That's absolutely huge, especially the certification. Of course, we do understand about our sports program. According to the coach, he's not in here, but I'm going to tell you what he said. We should be state champs. That's what he told me this year. So somebody's going to hold him to that. And so I went to ask the high school principal, was that true? And he says, absolutely. And we'll see. Right, Mr. Martin? Okay, all right. Glad you woke up, sir. Thank you. So here are varsity sports: baseball, basketball, bowling, cheerleading, cross country. And now we come to some exciting ones that are going to come. Our varsity sports also include football, golf, soccer, softball, swimming, tennis, track, volleyball, wrestling. And you see the young man with that Warrior shirt on? That's the future lacrosse player. One of the things that I think the administration has come up with, we're actually going to infuse lacrosse into our physical education program for this year. More lacrosse scholarships are given than any other sport. So we want our children to be able to take advantage of this. The other thing, rowing. One of the advantages, the hardest part of rowing is finding the water. We have the water. Now we have to get kids involved in the opportunity. Wouldn't it be amazing if we had a great TV segment that was created by the communications team showing the Winton Woods students rowing down the lake? That would be huge. And guess who was standing at the banks cheering them on? Harvard, Yale, Brown. Those are rowing schools. So we have to give our kids the opportunity. So stay tuned. That's coming. Envisions, Youth Motivation Learning Center, and also Good Catch. These programs, these people have created an atmosphere of learning for our children, and they talk about really capturing the heart and the soul of young people to make them really love school. Now, not all of the kids are that talented in the beginning, but going through their programs, they actually take our kids from where they are and help them become motivated to become lifelong learners. So kudos to the 3 organizations that come to be part of our school, and they don't ask for anything in return other than send the children. So thank you. Get involved in the PTA. That's all I can say, because that's going to help our kids get to the next level. So get involved. Greater supports, greater partnerships, greater communication, greater relationships. That's what the PTA endorses. We continue to be a comprehensive summer school to help students gain academic success. Not all students will get it during the regular year, so summer school helps reinforce that work. It's necessary. It's a catalyst for developmental issues. Some students struggle academically, and so summer school helps them gain that other confidence. Imagine a young person going through summer school, meeting the challenges, and walking into the school year in the fall, and they've overcome all of those challenges and they're ready to go. That's huge. And we also had the free breakfast and lunch program for June and July at the intermediate school for anyone who was under 18, excuse me. Security. With grant funding, all school main entrances have been secured with camera intercom and remote access locking systems, ID badges, and emergency response radios in each school. These are all grant funded. So these are not things that came from our general fund. These were grants to help enhance this work because safety is paramount for us. And upgraded systems in Winton Woods High School. All floor plans uploaded digitally to state first responders, and all frontline buses are equipped with digital cameras. Academic results. One of the things that we will be able to let you understand tonight is no matter how challenging the work is, we will always give you the facts of where we stand. The facts are not glowing. We have some challenges that we have to meet. However, with your support and the commitment from all of our staff members, we will meet and exceed those state challenges. We're going to give you results on all of these categories. And Ms. Denny, for these slides, with the exception of the school rating, we will go rather quickly to get through them all, okay? So, ODE recalculated our reporting data, and in 2010 and 11, we were in continuous improvement. After self-reporting our errors, the performance index was 89.6. After recalculation, it was 89.4. There were 17 out of 26 indicators met, 15 out of 26. We did not meet AYP, and we were below the value-added range. In 2014, the preliminary performance index, you take the 92.5 divided by 120, and that's how you come up with the percentage. The high school was a C, the middle school was a C, the intermediate school was a D, the elementary school was a C, and the Winton Woods as a district was a C. Included in the performance index, of course, is the 3rd through 8th grade OAA, the 10th grade OGT, and then not included is the performance index. The performance index is the OGT for students that are juniors. So, preliminary indicator grades. I need you to look at this for a while. This is real. The state has changed the standards, and they've upped the game, and they've made it more rigorous. This is not something that we can't overcome. Usually, when you see this slide, people would want to go through this slide quickly. I want you to look at this one for a while, because this is where our challenges are. And the state didn't just raise the challenges and the standards for us. They raised them for every school in the district. And basically, I can tell you, every school in the district had a struggle. They had a drop. But we're not going to stay here. I can guarantee it, because we have good systems in place and we have a plan in place to overcome it. This is the first year of this challenge. This is the first year of the challenge. So stay tuned. And some of the professional development that we're talking about will help enhance this. Is this something to be proud of? No, but this is the reality. This is the part that the community needs to understand. This is where we are. The preliminary graduation stats. The 4-year stats was 83.4, which is a D, and the 5-year stats was 84.8, which is also a D. These are things that we cannot live with. The challenges are upon us, but we will rise to the occasion. I guarantee it. ACT scores. The ACT scores in 2010 was 16.9. The average now is 17.9 for English. For math, it was 18.1. It's 18.9. Reading moved from 18.1 to 19.4. Science, 18.7 to 19.3. And the composite moved from 18.1, which was almost a whole percentage point. Now, with another system in place, we will actually exceed where we were in 2014, because now we have a very, very comprehensive plan in place. Some schools, some districts, their ACT scores have not gone up. So I am proud to say that we have had some increases, but I would like to see the 14, 15 scores look like 23s, 25s, 27s, and I believe we can do it with the right people in place. growth versus achievement. You've seen this slide before. Ms. Denny, we will go quickly through this one. The achievement line is the blue line. The growth line, of course, is the green arrows. But one of the things that we have to do, I am not interested in hitting the blue line. No, that is the baseline. We're interested in growth, and serious growth for all of our children. And of course, you've seen this from our previous slide. Adam started out 3.5, middle of his third grade year, and he became proficient. Jacob started out exceeding the standards, but he was taught in a way just like Adam was taught, and you see he digressed. We can't afford that. The next slide tells you how it should be. Adam started out, Jacob started out, both students increased tremendously. Adam decided, based on the work that was delivered, he was going to be proficient. That's what he hit. Now, there may have been some struggles along the way, but he became proficient. Is that his highest potential? In my estimation, probably not. But look at Jacob. Jacob exceeded the standards from the beginning and continued on with the growth. So here's reality right here. You want to know how well we did on the third grade reading guarantee? Kudos to Mr. Dorsey. Hard work is hard work. And you put a lot of hard work in, and so that your teachers, and there were administrators that also went to tutor in the third grade. Raise your hands if you were part of that tutoring team. See, the administrative team understands something, and the people that work in central office, one of the things that they embrace, in order for us to make this thing a reality, all of us have to get involved. So the accountants, the treasurer, HR director, assistant director, the administrative assistant to the superintendent, everybody decided they were going to march down to Kendall's building and make this thing worthwhile. So here are the results. In the fall, 104, there were 260 third graders. So in the fall, we met 40%. We came back with the Terra Nova in the spring, 76 students, there was 69%. Then we came back with the OAA challenge, 59 students, there was 92%. And of course, we continue to march on with the summer Terra Nova at 95% of our students making the standards. And then we came back again with another summer assessments. Our students had 5 opportunities to grow through this process. Right now, we have 11 students who still need some additional assessments. And the good thing about it, kudos to you, Miss Montgomery. Miss Montgomery and also Miss Wilson. They've already hired people to be ready to work with those kids the first day of school. The state says that those students, the 11 students that we're talking about, they can meet the standards and be promoted during the mid-year. That's the goal. So we started out with 260 and 11 students still need the work. I'm not saying that it's perfect, but we're getting closer to the mark than not. Of course, you see the curriculum education paradigm. And of course, the way the paradigm works, here are the students who struggle, the students that are average are in the middle, and the students that exceed standards are on this side of the bell-shaped curve. It is our goal to have everybody shift to the right. That's the goal, that's the work, and that's what we're responsible to do. That's called being responsible. And we can't teach children in this average spectrum anymore. It has to be able to be something to be taught that exceeds the state standards. We can exceed the state standard. The state standards are here. That's not our goal. It will never be. Where are we going? Because the DLT is a district initiative, Ms. Denny, we will skip that slide and go into what that professional development looks like. Go back one, please. I'm sorry. One more. All right. My first state of the school in May, here's some promises that we made. We said we would have more classroom visits and we would revise those visits. We've done that. We would replace professional development days. We would put in professional development days, with early release days. We would also restore K-6 art, music, and PE. The GPA for athletes would be an increase. Summer testing, 3 additional opportunities for more students to meet the promotion score for 3rd grade guarantee. AP Human Geography added to the high school course, more in community engagement, which will be ongoing. And right now, the last 4 bullets are in transition. We will have those actually obtained within the next few weeks or so. The lacrosse is already part of the curriculum. And so we are actually going to march forward with everything that we promised the community that we would do. Here's what our PD looks like. How many of you have ever seen a professional development schedule of where the teachers are going to learn their craft and how they're going to do it? Usually you don't see that. Usually it's a hidden formula somewhere. We want to be very transparent. We want you to see what the teachers are going to study in order to help the kids succeed and exceed the state standards. Effective classroom management, Common Core literacy, Common Core math, Blackboard training, performance tracker, assessment literacy, PBL, Google Apps for education, Tier 1 strategies and differentiation, SLOs. Formative instructional practices and sheltered instructional observational protocol, SIOP. SLOs are actually standards. They're actually work patterns. They're creative pieces where the teacher has to have a growth target for children, and the growth target can't be so low that they meet it. It has to be a higher growth target where students exceed where the teacher believed the standards were and then move the kids through it. So SLOs are going to be more developed this year. Last year was our first stab at it. We got through some rough moments, but I am very, very confident with the work that the curriculum department puts in place, the SLOs will be actually delivered. And then we have the Ohio New Learning Standards in science and social studies, intervention programs in math for grades 2 to 12, and SLO assessments. Here's the new Common Core state standards in English language arts. So here's an example of an OGT kind of question. Which one is equivalent to the value of 1/4? 2/4, 1/8, 4/5, or 2/8? That's not a very challenging question. So here's the next one. Ohio's New Learning Standards. Sample question from previous OEA. A set of 4 inches is shown, a set of 4 circles is shown, Tina shaded one of the circles to represent a fraction. Which model represents an equivalent fraction? A, B, C, or D? Those are not really heavy questions. A basic understanding of fractions, you would be able to understand that without any problems. But this is what the new standards look like. Sample question on PARCC assessment. This is a PARCC assessment computerized test. So keep in mind that our kids are going to they're going to get away from the pencil and paper, and these are going to be computerized tests where they will have to learn how to manipulate the computer in order to get the question right. A farmer plants 3/4 of the field with soybeans. Drag the soybean to the field as many times as needed to show the fraction of the field that is planted with soybeans. Soybean at the bottom, farmer's field at the top. That's a basic question. Basic question. Now, in the audience, some of you, it was a breeze to get the first 2. The others, when you're talking about dragging the soybean to the field as many times as needed to show the fraction of the field that is planted with soybeans. Some of you are saying, you know what? I don't care about soybeans. But we want our kids to be prepared for this so that there won't be a struggle. Some future endeavors for the high school: mentoring, community service, PBL, one-to-one tech. The second bullet for the principals in primary north and south, we keep talking about community service. And some of our community service should be given to our community, which is Winton Woods. So we're talking about having tutoring opportunities. We have some very, very smart kids in our high school. They're going to help work with some of our kids and develop those relationships in North and South, which would make this work much more beneficial to everybody involved. So stay tuned. Capstone. That's where I talked about the content, where the content is encapsulated and it's content rich, where every content is part of the process, so that everything that the kids put on that screen, everything they put on that trifold is actually incorporated into other content areas. So there's a cohesive team. Project-based learning is the perfect platform. Senior capstone projects are currently a requirement in the Academy of Global Studies. Capstone projects are planned to be part of the curriculum, and project requirements will be scaled to grade appropriate objectives, meaning that it's going to be scaled down so that every student can be part of this experience. That's the goal. PSP, post-secondary pathways. In the class of 2013, we don't have the data for 14 because they just graduated. 74% of our students enrolled in a 4 or 2-year university, 6% immediate employment, 3% military, and 17% undecided. Percentages do not include students that are dropouts, non-graduates. Here's the other part. Some of our students, based on their disabilities, the state says they can stay in school until they're how old, Ms. Darcy? 22 years old. Because they need more developmental pieces. But the state penalizes you for keeping them to their 22. We're not saying we don't care about the state, but we care about kids first. So if they need to stay until they're 22 to become more developmentally enriched in order for them to be successful in their career of choice, we're going to do that because that's the responsible thing to do. Also, one of our fundamental pieces is Naviance. Naviance, you will hear about it more. There will be an individual presentation about Naviance, but I believe we have a counselor talking about it. Okay, so let's run that one. She talks about some of these pieces.
Gabriel Santiago here with me, and we're going to discuss Naviance and how he can utilize it during his senior year. All right, so Gabe, one of the important things about College Board is that it will help keep you organized when you're looking at colleges for next year. So if you click on the Colleges tab, all of these tabs are what you're going to be using to navigate. So the Colleges tab will probably be the most important one for you. Are there any colleges that you're thinking about attending?
UC and KU.
Okay, so you can click on colleges I'm thinking about, or you can go here to the left and type in Northern Kentucky University. What will happen is, here's Northern Kentucky University, and all of their information comes up. So here you have their admissions. You can visit the website directly from Naviance. You can look at a graph to see if your scores, ACT scores, GPA, fall into what they're looking for. And you can also add it to a list of colleges that you're thinking about. Now, to see if you qualify to get in, if you click on admissions, it tells you that they need the ACT, it tells you that a GPA is required, letters of recommendation are optional, they don't need the SAT, okay? They receive 7,330 applications and they take 64% of those applications, so they have a high percentage of acceptance. What scores do you need to have on the ACT? They look at between a 19 and a 24. The average is a 21, so you want to look at your ACT scores to see if you fall within that category, okay? Also, they'll ask you for certain courses for you to take in high school. You want to look through and make sure that you've met these requirements in order to get in.
Our young people will need that experience earlier than later, so they know what level of rigor to take. They know what kind of courses are going to help them get to the university of their choice. They know the costs, they know the ACT score, they know all of the prerequisites that will help them get into the door of that university to be successful. It is our responsibility to use Naviance as a tool. Naviance by itself will not do it. There has to be other parts that go along with it, and I believe our counselors are very skilled to deliver that service. So I'm happy that Naviance is here, but once the kids are launched into it with the counselor, they can go in there whenever they choose. It doesn't have to be something that you have to have an adult sitting there helping you navigate through it. It's easily absorbed into your system. Once you start it, you become addictive to the process. The scholar athletes, they've decided. Last year, they raised their GPA. They decided to have a challenge. Fourth quarter, they decided we're going to raise the GPA because I'm hearing right now that there are probably 7 to 10 D1 athletes on that team. That means they can go to college for free, provided they have all the other things in place. That's a great victory, but we have to make sure the academics are first. So, to support our academic goals, our team has decided to replace a workout with an extra study table per week. In addition, we'll begin our school day an hour early to work with our teachers before school. This is only the beginning of how we're changing the culture of Winton Woods High School. Andre Parker, Winton Woods High School football coach. Football coaches don't talk like that. They talk about winning, but we're talking about winning in the classroom. That's the whole objective. The athletic director wrote a fantastic letter that's going to go to every student athlete about what their ACT scores are and how to get them through the NCAA clearinghouse. You don't have to wait to senior year to do it, because he wants to show them that with hard work, this is how it pays off. Also, we are being always fiscally responsible. I believe I work with the best treasurer in the world. Whenever I come to his office, he's holding up a stop sign. No, you can't buy that. But he is a very, very responsible fiscal agent. And what he brings to the table to Winton Woods is second to none. He is very, very good at what he does. So I know he's very, very shy and he really doesn't like the accolades and applause, but you really need to give him a hand for the work that he does. Thank you. He's giving me that dirty look again. So here's some of the other opportunities that our kids will have. See, we're moving into this age of technology is taking over the world. So we can't have our children out there without the technical resources. So we have to spend some money in order to have them to have some advantages, because if every other kid out there in society is working through this technological age, our kids have to be equipped to be able to do the same. It is our responsibility to find the resources to make sure we can do this. Blended learning opportunity via Blackboard, grades 9 to 10, cloud mobile printing solutions, district signage displaying district and school information, and each school, the enrollment center and central office. Communication and priority. We do have a great communications team, but their priority, the priority is to make sure that we have a two-way communication process with our families and all of our community stakeholders. That's our goal, that's our meetings, and that's what they look like. We've also enhanced our work. We meet twice a month, but we've decided that we're going to open up one of our regular business meetings to community members to come in to tell us some of their concerns, some of their wishes, some of their attitudes, because we need to hear from them firsthand. What do you think about the district, and how do you partner with us to make us better? All right? Some of the conversations may be brutal in the beginning, but that's okay. If you see the communications team, they're kind of tough. They're kind of resilient, so I think they can handle it. So the state of the schools, most superintendents do a state of the schools at the end of the year or the beginning. We do it at the end and the beginning because we want you to know how we closed and how we opened. And so that's going to be a regular process that's going to happen. It's a biannual meeting, and we already know when the next one is going to be. The Quality Education Opportunities Report will be coming out soon. Professional news articles ongoing. District mobile app will be new. Push notifications, access to staff notifications. Principal communications, weekly. Business partner breakfast. Your Futures Now seminars. That Your Futures Now seminar kicked off last year, and we've decided that with parents' involvement, and parents have said something just really interesting, we'd like for you to come back with that again, because they want to know, how do we get ourselves involved in our children's education, and will these seminars help enhance our work? And we believe they will. Good Catch, Community Day at the Reds. How many of you were there? How many of you saw me catch this hot line drive from Dave Bell? Dave Bell tried to take me out, but I persevered. And I think that when he was on the pitcher's mound and I didn't fall on my face, I think he was totally disappointed. But I couldn't let my fans down. And so all over the country I receive emails, great catch, Superintendent Smith, from all over the world. We also had Game with the Cop, Let's Move Community, and school facility community engagement forums. Here's the good part. Restoring phys ed, art, and music. We keep talking about how it enhances the work. Now we've done something about it. Building a stronger program for performing arts, allow important opportunities for creativity, improve attendance. Principal Dorsey, raise your hand. Principal Dorsey tricked me into coming to the superintendent's art gallery. And it was an art gallery. So I walk in and I see the 4 art pieces and I say, hey, I have to choose one, that's not bad, all right? All of a sudden he says, down the hallway, around the corner, down the steps, into the cafeteria and the gym is the rest of the art. 3,000 art pieces to choose from. And it seems like every little kid was looking at me with this face like, please choose mine. So I chose the art and escaped through the back door. But that art was so enriching. I just think it was absolutely awesome. And then we were in, I believe it was Primary North. Me and Mr. Pennycuff were on a mission to choose some artwork. And I think that was the school that Dr. Holden was over. So Dr. Holden was over curriculum, Primary North, high school, athletics, buses, and some other things. But along the way, we met some fantastic young people that were proud of their art. And so one of the things that we would like to do in the near future is to start hanging that artwork in the boardroom so that people get a chance to see it when they visit us during our special board meetings. The artwork is absolutely incredible. 3,000 art pieces, Mr. Dorsey. Keep that in mind. All right? Next year, I want to see 6,000. Okay? The other good thing, see, we didn't just restore this just for the sake of restoring it. So I'm going to tell you how this structure works. When our children are in art and music and enjoying those activities, our teachers have a chance to plan collectively together. That's the major piece. If they can't plan together, we can't get to the same goal. So now, since we've restored art and music, number one, it enhances creativity for students, but it also helps our children actually create better relationships with each other, but it helps our teachers plan better lessons. So thank you for everyone who supported that initiative. Thank you to the board for bringing that back to terms. And thank you, Mr. Seymour, for funding that initiative. Year-round activities, year-round opportunities. So we have it in the primary buildings back again, and we are excited. K-6 Phys Ed provides instruction in K-2 half year, year-round, year-round, year-round. So we will get the opportunities that we need in order to enhance those activities. These are not fluff courses. These are necessities. To make the most valuable time in the classroom with your students, here are guidelines for visiting your child's classroom. You can visit for up to 15 minutes. But here are the major pieces. Follow the same rule that the superintendent follows. Do not interrupt the lesson. Do not stop the teacher from doing the work. We cannot get that time back. Please observe, but please be mindful that there is business going on in that room. So we want you to just follow those rules, same rules that I follow, and from time to time we will make those visits together. 24-hour notice, no interruptions during classroom visits, and please make an appointment at the front office if you would like to further communicate with your children. Also, it is essential that we have partnerships with our community. So, through the support of many local businesses, our community is helping to shape our future leaders. I was talking to Ms. Burns and Mr. Cleary. They don't remember all these great meetings that we have in the parking lot, but I do, because they're some of the most developed. When new businesses come into our community, we need to partner. We need to partner with those businesses when they come into our community and get special incentives. We need to ask those partners, what about internships for students? What about mentoring opportunity for students? You're getting a lot of advantages by coming into this community, and now we want you to help turn our product into something that's called superstars. So that's something that we're going to push in the future. And we're excited because guess what? If we have strong partnerships, strong community, strong parents, strong students, we'll have an incredible district. Open enrollments for financial stability. We have 183 open enrollment. This is an estimate, which is about $800,000. We had 153 open enrollment students for 13-14 with 780, and 130 open enrollment students for 12-13, which is 701, which is a grand total of $2,282,500. Okay. We don't mind having open enrolled students because guess what? That's a different level of diversity that maybe we didn't have before. Everybody brings something to the table. We just have to capture and enhance what you bring and then benefit from it. We also have figured out something. Our language line, if we're going to talk about having all these languages, we have to figure out a way to communicate with people effectively. And so we have language line solutions. Of course, Ms. Willard agreed to be the translator whenever you need it. Anytime, anywhere, 24 hours, she'll translate for you. Correct? Okay, see, there we go. That's commitment. All of these opportunities provided for our Winton Woods community while extending the operating levy. The operating levy has been extended for 4 additional years. So we talk about being fiscally responsible, and that's one of our goals. We have to be fiscally responsible with tax dollars every minute of the day. We will never, never compromise that work. So here's school districts that have used your tax dollars to fund new schools. That's Winton Woods in the middle, and these are other new, brand new facilities all around us. Brand new facilities with your tax dollars. Keep that in mind. One day I'm going to be singing a song in that auditorium. And it's going to have so much technology that my song will sound good. If I tried it in here, wouldn't work out. But it's going to be so much technology in that room that, guess what? Where's Mr. Torres? Is he here? He is so excited about the opportunity of having this grand auditorium. Wait and see, it's going to happen. It's already been named. Can you imagine it? It's already been named the Dave Bell Auditorium. We encourage our Winton Woods community to actively engage in the education of our students. We will stop here. One of the things that I want to do now is I want to give you an opportunity to ask questions. But the other thing, the next slides talk about how to engage our parents. We spent an hour this morning with the staff talking about the idea that our parents are our customers. We have to treat them like they're our customers, and we have to respect their attitudes. They bring a lot to the table, and so we don't want to push them away. We want to actually pull them closer to us because we're in this thing together. So, questions at this time? That's an excellent question. Excellent question. She wants to know if looping is only going to be for gifted kids. No. Our goal is to make sure that there's some looping opportunity for a variety of students, because we know if it enhances gifted kids to become more proficient, more excellent, not just on state tests, but outperforming other students, then other kids deserve it as well. So no, it is going to expand. That is the goal. All right? And so you're interested in being that looping teacher. I can feel it, aren't you? Okay.
My question was, I think the curriculum night is a great idea, but what actually will that look like? What can parents expect to see if it's grade down, like from K to 6 and then 7 to 12?
The curriculum department is going to create a really nice flow of what that looks like, and how parents can benefit from it. This will be one of our first opportunities to put it at the same time in the same place. And so we're gonna have to do it right so that parents can come back and feel like they benefited from the experience. So thank you. Dr. Holden is working courageously on that as we speak. I think I'm holding her up by talking so long tonight. Yes, sir.
Superintendent Smith, I recently read the School Facilities Community Engagement Forum information which collected in May. Are there any next steps in place to figure out what our game plan will be as concerning new school facilities?
Absolutely. There's a committee that meets weekly, Mr. Denny, every Wednesday at 5, and we're talking about our next strategies in order to make sure that the facilities is a reality. The new facilities is a reality. It is an open meeting. Yes, sir, it is. Every Wednesday at 5. Forest Park Senior Center. Okay? Yes. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. The Chinese enrichment? I actually had a great conversation with several people, and we're really trying to put some things together to see if this is going to be something that we can benefit, that the district can benefit as from a whole. We're not ruling it out. However, we need to make sure that we have our resources in the right place. So we'll maximize that, but when we have that opportunity to have a conversation, I would be more than happy if you sat on that committee with us. Okay? All right. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Betty Baker. I have no kids in school. I'm so old. I understand the importance of all the emphasis on getting ready for college.
Yes, ma'am.
What about those kids, for all kinds of reasons? That's not part of the plan.
Okay.
So what are we doing? And like, what was that big word, naverance or something?
Naviance.
Naviance, whatever. Does that
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is being used.
in place? Because one of the cries, they have jobs, but not people that can fill them. And lots of them are not jobs that one has to go to college.
You're absolutely correct.
And then there are youngsters who want to go into the military. But likewise, there's certain things that they need to be doing in high school that would make them a better military.
You're 100% correct. One of the things that maybe it was an oversight on my part, but what Naviance does, it doesn't just talk about college, but it talks about careers. So it gives you a career exploration along the way, and the counselors will help guide you through the process, because some kids say, I'm not interested in college, but everybody wants a career. Okay? Okay, that's, so we have it.
Concern that in the schools there is such emphasis on college, but there needs to be that component for the young people for whom that isn't.
And Naviance does help create that for both tracks, college and or career. So yes, it does have that other piece.
Counseling, the guidance, whatever the word is for it, that needs to be in place for those young.
I agree. And again, when we really start rolling out all of the pieces, I hope you're around to make sure that you can see some of the work being developed.
To me, if I were one of those young people, I would feel kind of like there's no hope.
No, we're not leaving them out. And in the past, you're right, in the past, when you weren't successful about getting to college, people say that you weren't successful. Well, we have some other pathways. And so we're going to help our young people get there. Anything that we have to do, we will do it. So thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate it very much. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say, to add on to what Ms. Baker was talking about, I work at Cincinnati State, and I actually work with veterans all down. But the way that the concept is today is being college and career ready. So really at this level, secondary education, coming out of high school, there's academics and then there's the career thing. And I think that piece with your future is now will address a lot of that. Academically, even if they go to a technical school or military, there's need to strive for the excellency piece.
Absolutely.
However, as they prepare and they choose whatever path they want to go, that's totally up to the individual and their family. But pretty much even for the factory jobs now, everything requires a higher level of capability and skill set.
But that still should be in place that children know that the emphasis should be.
And it is there. And it is there. There is a high school principal in the back, and there's a former high school principal that will make sure that those things happen. So it will be taking place. We're also talking about scaling Naviance down as early as the middle school so that younger people can start making some choices about college or career. All right? Okay? Here's the other thing. I just received a notice. There is going to be someone that will be in the lobby with a table set up that for people who have a need to learn how to use Progress Book more effective, they will give you some training and set you up so that you can be more effective with the use of Progress Book. Okay? I have time for one more. Yes. Okay. Mrs. Prezesito's issues were about the uniform in conjunction with spirit wear, correct? Correct? Yes. Okay, all right. One of the things that we don't want to confuse a uniform policy with a dress code, all right? Those are two totally different things. The administrators that are responsible for your children every day, the principals who have integrity, who value education, are going to make some very good decisions about how spirit wear is going to be used. It is not going to be thrown to the side, but there is also a uniform policy that will be enhanced. So stay tuned. The administrators will make very good decisions, and the board has worked collaboratively with a group of people to make sure that there's a uniform policy, there's a dress code, but those are things that will enhance the spirit of Winton Woods. So it is not something that is just going to be pushed to the side, but we're going to do it where it's going to be a more announced opportunity. Okay? All right. Thank you. All right. Before we leave, there is a young man who is so inspirational, so committed to Winton Woods education that every time I see him, I get excited. He comes to activities, and you may not recognize him because I believe he has, I'm not going to say it's his wife's wig, but it's a wig, and I don't know who it belongs to, but he wears it often, and it's kind of scary, but he likes it. I saw him in a summer school challenge with young people, and here's a good thing about him. He does not ask for any money to do it. He does it out of the goodness of his spirit and the love for children in Winton Woods. And I would like for you guys to give a warm, warm welcome to Jermaine Hill. Come up, Jermaine. You know, I never mind bringing people up that I might be taller than. So, but Jermaine, I want you to say a few words. Jermaine's going to be recognized at our next board meeting for all of his contributions to the district. For anything you call him for, he comes running. He is a fire lieutenant.
Yes, sir.
Fire lieutenant, absolutely. So, Mr. Jermaine Hill.
I had no idea. So I'm glad I dressed for the occasion. Without that wig? Yeah, without the wig. And that's my grandmother's wig. Her old wig. Well, first let me say it's an honor, a pleasure, and a privilege to serve the Winton Woods School District. And although I live in Cincinnati, and I'm still a Woodward Bulldog at heart, this is my second home because this community has opened its arms and accepted me as your own. And I want the fire department to always be accessible to the students and the parents. My motto is anytime, every time. If you guys ever need anything, you come see me. And if I don't have it, I'll have someone who can get you an answer, a correct answer, just in case I don't know. But I love what I do. I was placed in a position to do public relations and public education like maybe a year and a half ago. And ever since then, I have not been to work. I love what I do. And I love the opportunities that are presented to me by God and the Winton Woods School District. So with that, thank you.
All right. This segment is over for tonight. And our next meeting will be May 4th. And 6:30, we know the time, we know the date, so please plan to be here. But here's the thing I'd like for you to do. Bring 50 people with you. All right, thank you and have a good evening. Get home safe.
For $20 each. Send program title along with your address and check or money order to Waycross Community Media. Attention Dub Coordinator, 2086 Waycross Road, Forest Park, Ohio 45240. Or buy securely on the web at www.waycross.tv.